Cool.
So, dude, Woody.
What's up?
It's great to see you.
Good to see you, man.
So, just to catch the people up, you just walked in, and I was like, did you just lose a bunch of weight?
Yeah.
And tell them what you told me.
I've lost almost 100 pounds in less than a year. It's been almost a year.
It was November, right?
Yeah, November. I was at
So we're coming up
280.
on like 10 months or something.
Yeah, I was at 270 in November, and I'm down to like 182 right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're getting close to 100.
So, dude, I just got to start by saying congrats. Like,
Thanks.
good for you. I'm on a journey myself trying to gain weight. I'm going the opposite direction.
I can see your muscles.
You see me coming along?
No, I can see it.
I got a little something, and I just know how fulfilling it is when you start to see some progress.
Yeah.
And so in 1 year, it's not that long. Like, when you think about a year, it seems like a long time, but I feel like I just saw you not that long ago, and now, boom, this huge change has occurred. So, anyways, tell us where you live.
Yeah.
And then catch us back to the point you were just at, where there's this teardrop tattoo, and there's people you don't know, and there's drugs involved.
So I have family property out at the foot of Big Bear, and I was born there, but I grew up. My mom moved us to the beach, and so I grew up down in Encinitas, and that's where I met Brandon. But I moved. During COVID, divorced my wife, midlife crisis, all of that. I ended up back out at the property, out of the foot of Big Bear, and it's near Redlands area, and this little town called Mentone. And, it's this historic property. My dad's been collecting stuff there for years. So it's got this big, Paul Bunyon statue in the front yard, and there's an airplane, and there's a spaceship, and, all these different, kind of the spectacles to look at.
And
so
this is not like a painting of a spaceship. This is a real...
No, it's like a Japanese
real
spaceship from a movie in the 70s. It's got a pizza launcher in the back, and then there's a Paul Bunyan. It's like a 30-foot Paul Bunyan, and it was like they were advertisements for muffler shops back in the day. And there's a fiberglass place in Venice, California, that used to make these things, and so all these different my dad just started collecting these things over the years, and it was in the middle of nowhere, so no one was, giving him, hassling him for putting it up there. But now it's been there so long, we're grandfathered in, and so it's just don't move it, and it's there. So people know it as a landmark driving the back way to Big Bear.
We're gonna have to pull up a picture of this Paul Bunyan and the property. I mean, it's so freaking sweet.
Yeah. So it's a pretty special spot. So, but like I was saying, so. I don't know many people out there. I know my dad's friends, and that's it. It's a bunch of 70-year-old men, and so a friend of my dad's was like, when I moved back out there, they're like, you should join the Moose Lodge, just because the elders in town and stuff, and so I ended up moving, going to see my dad's friend at the Moose Lodge one night, and another girl I know, she was like, hey, swing by and see me over at this bar, and I don't drink anymore, and I had.
Wait. Real quick, what year is this, or where are we at?
This was right before I came to NoHo.
And this is 2024, 5?
Yeah, 2024. This would have been like December 24.
Okay. And then to paint the picture a little bit more.
Actually, no, it would be December 23.
Okay.
So December 23.
This is current events.
Yeah.
This is not like way back in the day.
So a year and a half ago.
This just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so December 2023. So one night, I'm just swinging to the bar, and
were you living there at the time?
Yeah, and I moved there during COVID. So right in COVID, that's when I moved there.
You've been living there a couple years.
Years, and I'm kind of remodeled the front house, and
you epoxied the floor, right?
Yeah, well, I kind of did a stain in the cement floor. I redid the laminate floors in the house. I did a whole bunch of stuff in the house. I'll show you some pictures sometime, but did all this different remodel in the house. And the house is kind of like an art project. There's different things in every room, but we ended up going into, the bulk of this story is I was at this bar and I was looking for this girl, and then she wasn't there. And then, it's last call, and I'm smoking a cigarette and talking to some people. And this guy's driving a Tesla. And again, this is a weird little town. Like, you don't know who you're going to meet. And it's just like not always like the best of people late night.
What's the name of the town?
Mentone.
Shout out Mentone. Continue.
And you never know, there's some riffraff. And so, but this guy's driving a Tesla, and he's a bartender in town, and like, and not in town, but nearby. And I was like, tell him where I live. And he goes, oh, dude, I've never been to that house. And I was like, if you want to, I'm like, I don't drink anymore, but there's a bar in my house because, I've entertained and there's some beers if you guys want to come have last call. Bring your friends. So there's like 6 people out front. We're smoking cigarettes. And so he's like, yeah, let's go. And so everybody comes, and they all, we're only about a half mile away. So we go to my house, and some cocaine happened that night, and some, it's 4:30 in the morning, and we realized like two of these people nobody knows. Like this guy's like, these aren't my friends. I'm like, dude, those aren't my friends. And it's a guy with like a teardrop tattoo and like his girlfriend's like, spiderweb tattoo, like just straight out of, like it looked like Sons of Anarchy, like, And I was in the Navy, so I don't judge anybody. Like I can give everyone a hug, like, hey buddy, let's hang out, da da da. But like,
did you approach them or how'd you take it from there? So you realize I don't know them, you don't know them.
Yeah. But I didn't know these other guys that night either. But It was weird that I didn't talk to them at all, and then they just started following us back to my house. So we're all kicking it, and the guy was nice. He's like, "Dude, what a cool house!" Da, da, da. And they left on their own. There, it was like 4:30 in the morning. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna bounce," and they got on the Harley and took off. And so, cool,
God,
all good. And the other guy, he didn't, it was late, and he didn't want to drive, and so he just kicked it. And then my dad at 6 in the morning drove him home, and he came and got his car later that day. Again, I work remotely from Zoom, so 4 days go by. I'm working on Zoom, da da da. Knock on the door. There's 6 sheriffs at my front door. And I'm like, geez. And this is like probably around summertime, around August, 2 years ago. And I'm like, okay, that was like weird. And can I help you guys? And they're like, is this the house with the basement? And I was like, yeah.
The house of the basement?
With the basement.
With a basement?
Yeah.
Does this house have a basement?
Yeah. And not many houses have basements,
question.
right? But not many houses have basements. I'm like, yeah, it has a basement. He's like, all right. He's like, we're here on a wellness check. And I'm like, all right. He's like, we have reports that there's someone was injured in your basement at a party last night. And I was like, dude, there's been no parties here. I'm like, no one's been here for days. And he's like, you didn't have a party last night? And I'm like, no. And I was like, thinking, a party? I'm like, well, we have a girl in custody that said she beat her boyfriend she beat her boyfriend's head in with a crowbar in your basement last night. And I'm like, what?
She turned herself in for something she
So I'm thinking, what in the world are we? And I'm like, oh, dude, 4 days ago, there were some random people here. And like, I just met them at the bar, and like, they came back and kicked it for a little bit, but everyone left. There's no blood anywhere. And I'm like, he's like, well, it's a welfare check. And I'm like, well, he's like, we don't have a warrant, but we need to check to see if everyone's okay. And I'm like, okay, so what's this mean? He's like, we can just freeze the property, go get a warrant signed, come right back.
Right.
Or you can just let us look in your basement. And I was like, dude, nothing's bad is going on. So they come and look in the basement. And, and so they come down to the basement, and they are just like kind of baffled by my house. Because again, my house is like wild. There's like mannequins. There's like, there's a fuck machine on the bed in the basement with a bunch of fake $100 bills everywhere. And so
they're like, something's going on down here.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was a funny thing for people to watch. And then I have a lion and a cheetah in the basement, like a real pelt from, like a real lion head from Africa that my dad's boss
You're
shot.
like, you guys need to use the restroom. It's out in a greenhouse or something, right?
I have a greenhouse with an outdoor bathroom and tub and all this stuff. So there's just so many things going on in this house. And like, again, there had been like a swinger party there like a couple weeks prior, and like, so there's a lot going on here. And when they see this, like, and I'm like, hey, I'm just like, it's a house, but nothing bad happened here. So there's like, if we did luminol, we're not gonna find blood everywhere. I'm like, no, there's nothing, no girl's head. I'm like, here's the Ring camera, and I have a Ring in the front showing them leaving at 4:30 in the morning.
Nice.
And the guy gave me his phone number. I'm like, here's his phone number. Here's the guy's number. I don't know. So long story short, I'm thinking in my head, that guy's on the run. She made up some story to make him disappear.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? She got caught, and then is like, I can make my boyfriend disappear.
By saying
Some weird thing like this. That's the only thing I could think of.
Wait, so she would have been, what would her scheme have been? That he's on the run, she knew it, and so she was going to say that she
beat him up, and then, I don't know, but no body, no crime. Who knows? I don't know.
She just disappeared him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
Happened at your wacky,
at my house,
zany house.
Yeah, but I never heard about it again. The cops just gave me the card, and then they said, "Okay, we'll let you know if we hear anything." I'm like, "All right."
Oh, that's so weird. Dude.
So 4 months go by, and now it's New Year's Eve, and I'm, and I had like some other people around the house New Year's Eve, and like, again, just bad people. I'm hanging out with the bad people that like to do nose drugs, and like, and they're not my close friends, but they're just some people that are around town, and they ended up coming by because they knew I was in town. It's New Year's Eve, and I'm going to be up all night. So, and then I had some cool people that were friends of mine coming the next day. So bad people are around that night. And nothing bad happens New Year's Eve. They leave. Cool. No big deal. New Year's Day, I have some girl I met in Grass Valley and another girl I met down in that lives in San Diego, and they're musicians. And I'm like, you guys should come hang out. So the girl flies down from Grass Valley. The other girl drives up. They're going to meet. We're going to go pick the other girl up from the airport. And while this is all happening, the other girl goes to Guitar Center to go get an amp we rented so they can make music together and all this stuff. And we're doing this whole, they got a mixing pedal and looping pedal. So these girls are musicians, and I'm sitting on the couch while the girl goes, and a SWAT team raids my house, like 15 freaking full ballistic gear. And the first thing they say, is this the house with the basement? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, is this connected? And I'm like, Jesus.
And was it?
I don't know.
Connected?
I don't know. So they have a warrant, and it says I'm running a drug den and that I am involved in distribution of fentanyl and crystal meth. That's what the warrant says. And so they raid the house looking for scales and computers and ledgers and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, this girl's at Guitar Center. She's like early 20s, has no idea. She's the hippie chick, like does not mess with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't mess with any of this stuff. Like, I mean, yes, I have had a bad habit, but like, I'm not involved in any of this. And
She's like, granted, I do AA, but no, I don't sell fentanyl.
Right. Like, none of this stuff's involved.
Yeah.
So this whole thing's going down, and so my dad's in cuffs in the front porch because he's. I mean,
wow.
not in they didn't put him in cuffs, but he's brought to the front porch. There's another
was there, and he
lives in the back house.
Right?
He lives in the back house. I'm in the front house. Another dude that chops firewood on our property. He's now in cuffs on the front porch.
They got the lumberjack.
The lumberjack. Yeah. So it's like, and then they're raiding my house. They don't find anything except one little bag of sassafras. And
what is sassafras?
It's like the.
Isn't that a tea?
Sassafras is like what, like, it's the root of like what MDMA is, but like the plant version.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like the plant version.
So it has some type of psycho.
Yeah, but like all it is like makes you smile and makes you like it's a heart opener.
Okay.
So in the plant medicine world and like the hippie community, like they'll do it for like static dance and like those kind of like kickbacks and stuff like that. But like somebody left it out of my house and and it was like just this little thing. There's not like a drugs in my house. So they raided my house and they asked like, is there a gun here? And I was like, yeah, I have a gun. It's in the gun safe. And I never shot it. It's just to have it for protection on the property.
Is it registered?
Yeah, it's all
good.
legit. Everything's good. But
way to go.
I had thrown this little baggie in the safe just so my kids didn't get to it. But drugs and guns in the same safe is a bad mix.
Oh, you're a kingpin.
Yeah. So
You've
the
got
cops
this
go.
gun with this.
So they open up and they're excited
going
about
to
drugs
jail.
and guns in the same safe, and they're like all losing it. So now they take me. They never Mirandize me. They say we need to talk down at the station. So they take me to Fontana. That's again 40 miles away. They had a whole drug op come from Fontana. This whole SWAT team from Fontana to middle of nowhere.
Dude,
for
they
this
thought
state.
you were like cooking
Right.
fentanyl.
And then later on, so then that whole thing is, I call my dad. I was like, okay, I have my one phone call. Because actually, then I get down to the room where they're doing all this interview with me, right? So when I sit in the room, they're like, okay, tell us who you're working with. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, just give us the story. Like, tell us who you're working with. Unlock your phone, we'll let you go right now. And I'm like, I'm not unlocking my phone. I don't know who you guys are talking about. Like, you're not going through my stuff. Like, I think I should see a lawyer, but like, honestly, like, and they found some little empty Coke jars from like the year prior. Like, I had them up on a shelf, but like the little dram jars that I got off Amazon. But like, yes, I admit.
This was 4 months after New Year's, so the year prior was only 6 months ago.
I was like, I admit, like, I am an adult who has done cocaine.
Yes.
But like, yeah.
They're like,
I mean, there's lots of people that do that. But like.
You're like, most of you officers are probably doing cocaine right now.
But I have no like understanding what we're talking about with this whole fentanyl trip.
Right.
So, and I shouldn't have said anything, but like that, I'm just having this conversation with these guys. I'm like, what? I know what you guys are looking for, like based on this paperwork. It has nothing to do with me. And so I'm just telling them straight. I'm like, the little dram jars, like, and so like, there's no production, there's no scales, there's nothing like that you're looking for. And then so they're like, okay, so they book me and they prosecute. They book me on a $40,000 bail for like, you know, fentanyl ring and running a drug den and all this stuff.
Which $40,000 bail for the people that are watching that might not know, that means you have to pay 10% of that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's like $4,000 just to get out of Fontana.
Yeah.
And then you have to get home.
Yeah. So I had $100
So they're
cash.
basically screwing you.
Yeah. So I called my dad, and I had my one phone call Dad, and I'm wearing a poncho. That was the funniest thing. I was like shirtless with an underwear and a big, huge poncho. So I'm in jail.
Wait, like Walter White?
Yeah,
you looked exactly like a meth cook.
Big poncho, and it's the funniest thing. So I'm like walking around jail in a big, huge, like Pendleton poncho and and underwear, and so I spend the day in jail in poncho, and the cops are. I mean, everyone in there. I'm like, dude, what's going on? So I get out of jail, and I had $100. Got a taxi back to my house, and now I'm reading my paperwork on my way home, and I'm reading this thing, and the warrant is from a what's it called? The reason they got the warrant is from an informant, and so there was some undercover at my house, and so I think it might have been one of those randos.
Oh wow!
Or someone at New Year's Eve.
And then they spent those 4 months like building the case.
Or they were there New Year's Eve, and they were like on the hook with the cops, and the cops were like, "Tell us something."
He's like, "Oh yeah, I know
a good place."
There's this weird house.
There's this weird house, and everybody knows the house. So if you're some
that criminal is kind of thinking fast,
right?
You got to give it to him.
Any of these criminals, if they're tweakers out there, and they're like, okay, the cops want to know something, they'll let me go if I give them. And they point their finger at the Paul Bunyon House.
He's like, give us something. I don't know anything. Give us something. I don't know anything. Yeah. It's like, give us the name of your plug and we'll let you go right now. He's like, actually, this guy.
Yeah, this guy who like hung out with us all night that we just met. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they just see me with like, having fun with them, and they think I'm a drug dealer or something. Yeah. They don't know what I do.
Well,
so that's what happened, I think. I don't know.
I could see that. that.
That's the story that I have in my head. So then that night, my dad is like, he bails me out. He calls it bail bondsman, and then he calls my little sister. My little sister is with Brandon, and my sister's like, Woody's on meth. And Brandon...
Were you?
No. I've never done meth in my life. I'm like...
And never?
Never.
Oh, do I have a treat for you? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull up that baggie.
Yeah, I'll claim what I've done, and so and so this whole thing goes down. So I immediately.
We won't even get into that because that raises questions. But since that's too close to home, Brandon is our mutual friend. That's how we really met. Because then you got into. That's where you're going with the story.
That's the next day.
So we won't touch that. But that's pretty bizarre. That's an accusation in and of itself.
So the next day, that happens, and my sister is like, just, because she's...
I remember this. I was with Brandon.
Yeah, she knows like, Brandon.
My brother-in-law is in jail.
Yeah.
Hold on. And he was running around on the phone.
Right. So Chelsea goes, my sister calls my ex-wife, and she goes, I'm calling attorneys to get full custody because Woody's on meth, and I'm like, it's selling fentanyl, and I'm like, that's not happening. And so no one believes me because why do you believe drug addicts? You know what I mean? It's tough love. So I'm like, take me to get drug tested right now. I'll pop on coke, but nothing else. So Brandon shows up at my house to take me to NoHo. And that's what happened the next day. And so I get up here and I piss at the house immediately, and I was clean after 2 days.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, as funny as it is, those circumstances are not ideal. But I'm glad that you came to NoHo.
No, me too, because I got here and I've been clean off coke ever since. So
good for you, dude.
It's been,
how long has that been?
It'll be 2 years in January.
Congratulations, bro.
So
awesome.
that was the and I mean I smoke pot and I do mushrooms and
now you've lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
I mean something, I don't know. It's hard to say. Would you have improved your whole life? Would it not have happened if it hadn't happened the way that it did? But something clicked.
No,
and you look amazing.
I needed to get a reset. And
yeah,
so that was the thing. It was like a wake up call. And so having loved ones around, having Brandon with just being able to listen in Brandon's story. Brandon, I've known Brandon since junior high. So for him to be able to go and say, hey, I'm here to help you, man, and him get me out here, that made save my life, and save my relationship. Because as soon as I got here, and I was able to and I signed the release to say, hey, let NoHo talk to my ex-wife. I signed the medical release. I'm because I wanted her to trust me.
Okay.
And so as soon as she got
to say that you were here.
Well, and then I'm testing clean, and then I never tested for meth or any of those stuff.
I see.
So as soon as she did that, she's calling, and so she's like, okay, I believe your story now, versus you're selling fentanyl and stuff. And then I went to and then when I went to jail, or what's it called? When I went to court was like the DA never prosecuted it. So I went to court 3 times, and they just kept like delaying it, and then they just dropped the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So like they never.
So you were good. You got away scot free.
Yeah,
you
but
never found your meth den.
They didn't find the meth
that didn't
den.
exist.
Yeah.
That didn't exist, guys.
Yeah, there's no meth den. But
Okay. Well, cool. That's a hell of a story, brother. Wow. All right. So let's talk about this sassafras. Have you done sassafras?
oh yeah,
Have you tried it? Is it a tea or what am I thinking of?
No. So this stuff is
It's like a red leaf.
so sarsaparilla. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking of sarsaparilla.
Same difference.
Okay,
It's
okay.
the root. It's sassafras.
Maybe the same family
and
or
it could be it's all derivative. You know, if I'm speaking correctly.
close. You don't have to lean up. But
If I'm speaking correctly, but like it's all derivatives of that. So MDA and then MDMA is like the chemical compounds when they get into making it like
Okay.
in lab grade, and then
but it's a tree. It's a leaf.
yeah, and or root, I believe is
The
what it is.
root.
It's a
Okay.
root.
Have
So-
do you have experience with it?
Yeah, no, I've done it before.
And it has psychoactive effects.
Yeah, but it's more like
that's
it's more
overstatement.
like I'll tell someone like, you know, when you light incense and it changes the vibe of the room.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like it's not hitting your head like
You should
like
bring
oh,
some.
shit.
That sounds
Yeah.
cool.
But no, it's a controlled substance.
It
so,
is?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
yeah, and so like when
I thought it was just like
yeah, but
a nootropic or something.
no, it is technically I think a controlled substance because you're not supposed to use it for this thing. It's like poppy, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, wow.
you shouldn't be. You can make heroin from poppy seeds. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, don't do it. Yes, it's a flower, but it's also that. So it's that kind of thing. And so like the people that want to go natural will go instead of doing press pills and going
Yes.
ecstasy, they'll go this direction. And
Okay,
then
cool.
I've seen other people mix it with like they'll mix that and they'll make chocolate bars with that and MDMA and mushrooms and they'll have like a trifecta mushroom bar going
Oh,
on.
brother, that sounds crazy.
Yeah,
So,
so
you
the-
had it. Where did you get it from? Can you say that, or you don't?
But
wanna...
no, I mean I've had different like variations of it. You know what I mean? Like I've had in experiences like music festivals and stuff like that. They'll have like somebody will have a chocolate bar that has that mixed into it, or
Okay.
sometimes they'll just put a little on your tongue and it's like a powder.
And what you had was like a powder, or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
some sassafras powder.
Yeah.
It sounds so like innocent.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like a bag of tea.
Yeah, but it's
But you had it next to a gun.
It's not like it's not, and people do it more to like and it's not really like in the drug community because it doesn't hit you like that. But people like do it like at you'll see people like Venice Beach and stuff like that do it
It's
like
in the health and wellness
yeah,
community.
it's in that kind
Well,
of stuff.
I want to segue that into this weight loss journey because
Yeah.
you gave some. You attributed it partially to this company, so you want to plug them?
Yeah,
Let's
Purium.
talk about these
So-
guys because I was
yeah.
like, okay, one question. You lost
Yeah.
all this weight. I was like, one question: Ozempic or Manjaro?
Yeah.
And you were like, no. So what?
Yeah.
What is it?
So there's a company called Purium, and I work with a bunch of people in the holistic space, and a lot of witchy women that and a lot of these ladies they have worked with this company called Purium, and they do all kinds of supplements and different shakes and things like that. And so the main thing you can start with is the lifestyle transformation kit. And I have one of these clients that I do all her books and accounting and stuff like that. But I said part of my work here and part of the the groups and stuff and all of the work we did at NoHo was really like breaking down like the psychology part and all like my insecurities and things like that you mask with the drugs and alcohol. So when I was starting to like do that work, I was realizing I'm like I need to like disassociate my health from just being married or having a relationship. So one of my clients, Roxanne, she's been working with Purium for a long time.
Shout out to Roxanne. Is
Roxanne.
it Purium?
Purium, yeah, Purium.
Okay. So is there a website that you could
I
give
think
us?
it's buypurium.com or something like that.
I'll just look it up.
Yeah.
This sounds like something that people are going to be interested in. I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
Purium, the transformation company.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay.
And so I started working with I asked her, and so I said like, can you help be my accountability buddy on my health? Because also I have 2 little girls now, and like it's shifted my whole entire
Is
outlook.
that new?
Well, I mean,
You've had these daughters?
they're 8 and 10 now, but it's funny. As a guy, I think as a woman, when you get pregnant is when you shift. As a guy, my shifting to like I need to like be here for my kids was more when I could start having conversations with them.
For sure. I could totally see that.
Yeah. And it's like, once I was like, shit, I have a responsibility to these two young ladies. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm having dialogue with them. It's not like they're just babies.
Yeah.
So it was like, that really was like, shit, I can be called out now. You know what I mean? Or like they're counting on me.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? They're little people. So that all of this kind of coincided at the same time. And first it was like not doing drugs anymore, and then the next piece of it was I want my health and I want to like feel good about this, and that was like talking to Roxy about this. And so Roxanne was like, and she just sent me the kit, and it came with a blender and these shakes and these amino acids and these gut biome reset pills and this other mix, and it comes with a whole like 90-day chart of like, okay, take 2 of these in the morning, make a shake. Take 5 of these in the afternoon, make a shake, and they take this. So I didn't even know what all this stuff was. I just did it, and I did 90 days straight, and it was like, and I dropped weight. But when I started learning more about it and reading it, I started reading. I'm like, okay, what we're doing is we're resetting the gut biome, and your gut biome has a lot of these little like bugs in it, yeast and candida and all these stuff that are eating all these sugars that they're just festering in there. And then when they eat and they're eating all these sugars and yeast and all this stuff's going on, they're arresting your nervous system. They're stressing out your whole entire body. So as your nervous system relaxes and you start to reset your body, things start moving around. And that's and I started doing that with stretching and breath work and all of that. And that's been a lot of the work I've done over the last year. So it's working on my parasympathetic nervous system. Here I got a lot of talk therapy, and it was a lot of like the group work that we did doing that. I got into Sacred Sons and doing men's work, and that was something that I had never tapped into before.
Shout out to Sacred Sons.
Sacred Sons.
Okay.
And before it was like men's work for me, it was like, I didn't have daddy issues or anything like that because my dad skippered yachts. He was out, in Mexico a lot. So I just didn't have a lot of time with him, but I never felt abandoned. He was like around when he was in town, but it was like I didn't have that. But I just didn't have a lot of male relationships. I grew up in a beauty salon, so I had a lot of women in my life. But later on, now I associate there are male archetype relationships that are foundational, and that kind of Sacred Sons brought that into my awareness. So doing those retreats and I did the leadership program with them. I really learned some, and I got some great texts, like sacred texts of like, read this book. And so,
could you say what some of those are?
One of those, Iron John is a great one, and
Iron John.
It's a great men's
old
workbook. Yeah, it's like written by Robert Bly in the I think it was written in the 80s. Okay. And then James Tillman is another one that is one of his good friends. And then I got into Audible, and then they have a series of like college lectures, and so there's one called The Alchemy of Psychology, and it breaks down alchemy and all the alchemist works and hermetic wisdom, but on psychology terms. And I just really dove into like breaking down all the old alchemy and hermetic wisdom things that were taught before it was branched off. Like, this is science, this is medicine, this is astronomy, and I went back to learning kind of like what they were inferring to back in the Kabbalion days. And
okay, hold on, we gotta slow this down a notch. Okay, so it sounds like you went on this whole health and wellness and knowledge journey.
Yeah,
and it transformed your life.
Yeah,
did it make a big difference? I mean, from the outside looking in, it made a big difference.
Well, I had started, before I had gotten into here, I had started working with like plant medicine. Like I had gone to. I'd gotten out, quit drinking because I'd gotten into the ayahuasca circles, and I had met some clients, and I started working with an ayahuasca church, and just helping them some of their accounting and really believing in the missions they were doing down in South America. And I was like,
there's so many, you say these things like I'm not gonna jump on them. An ayahuasca church in South America,
in Peru, and then Costa Rica. And so I was like, how can I help these guys? And
when was this? You're at this church?
This was like 2000, 2, 3, like that. Okay. That's when I started learning about
20
this
years
stuff.
ago.
No, 23.
23.
Okay. It was like I quit drinking 3 years ago, so it was like right around there. So it was like COVID happened, and my marriage falls apart, and now I'm like, what am I doing? And it was like, I don't really want to work in this restaurant wine industry anymore. Who do I want to work with? And I started kind of seeing the cannabis industry, but it was so modeled after the alcohol industry that I didn't like it. And then I met these people in this healer community, this, you know, the holistic world,
church,
and yeah, in the ayahuasca world. And then I went to the MAPS convention, and that's it's the big psychedelic medicine convention in Denver every year.
Whoa.
And there I met, you know, doctors.
What year did you go to that? 24?
20, so it was 25 here, probably 22 or 23.
Okay.
So there I met, you know, like, you know, I went there specifically to watch a panel with a bunch of attorneys that were talking about legal protections under RFRA, which is the Religious Reformation Act. And it's how you can write your bylaws to get protections for your churches that want to serve plant medicine. So it's it's like Native Americans that serve mushrooms.
The Religious Reformation Act?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And so it's like, and under the Religious Reformation Act, you can actually get exemptions for the DEA if you want to import plant medicine from other countries. So there's layers of this that go through of first establishing your church, and then from there, what your church beliefs are, and then creating this under a 508c1a.
So the
tax
Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 93.
Yeah.
U.S. federal law designed to protect religious freedom by requiring a high standard for any government action that substantially burdens a person's religious exercise. So the church or the government cannot come in and be like, well, your church is 12 miles away now because...
well, what it is if your church practices serving mushrooms,
okay,
or if your church is the cannabis church,
yeah,
that's what it's protecting. Like say you guys do communion by taking mushrooms.
Well, that'd be one way to use this, right?
That's what they have done.
That's where okay,
and
gotcha.
So the Yamanawa tribe down in South America, like all these different tribes that people like these different tribes that have used these medicines,
prohibits any agency, department, or official of the United States or any state, the government, from substantially burdening a person's exercise of religion. So let's say my religion involves taking this drug.
Yeah.
The government cannot make that illegal.
Well, the idea is right, exactly.
Awesome.
So you create, right? So the idea is different churches, different people have made churches claiming this.
Okay.
And then what happens is they get in trouble, and then they go and try to use this excuse, but then they can't. Then they fail in court because you can't just call it a church. You have to have attorneys that will represent you, and your bylaws were built by those attorneys that know how to defend their bylaws.
So why were you interested in that? It's interesting, but why were you traveled to Denver to see these attorneys speak?
Because what I do is I help people create bylaws, and I help create people all their business structures. And so when I'm doing accounting and I'm paying people paychecks, and you say, hey, we have an organization and we want to take money in to help people, and when you do that and you have a clergy member, you can also pay a clergy member non-taxed because they're like a priest.
Yes.
So now if I want to pay a clergy member non-taxed, I need to create these rules. I have to have the board approve the way to pay you, the clergy member.
My dad was a pastor, so I'm closest to the churches and just know that there's a lot of
But he can't make
rules.
the decision of how to pay himself. You have to have a board of directors do that. So I created...
and that's why Joel Osteen has cash in his walls. Did you hear about that?
No.
In Texas, there's this mega church. It's like this telepastor or whatever.
I know Joel Osteen.
Okay, yeah. So Joel Osteen, famous pastor, and some plumbers were working on his toilets in his church, and they removed the toilets, and there was stacks of cash in the walls. So
we don't have that problem.
I wish.
Yeah, we don't have that problem.
So you went to Denver. So you got sober. There was a culmination of a bunch of events that happened, and you were like, I'm going to go on this health journey with the holistic approach. So then the meditation, then the Purium.
We'll start working with, I basically what happened is like, I knew I was getting away from the alcohol world. And we heard about, during COVID, my business partner and I, we heard about this ayahuasca stuff, but I'd never done psychedelics before. I was scared of them just because I was like, I had so many friends back in the rave days. Like I grew up in the 90s, and like I had friends OD and like all this stuff. So psychedelics were a no for me. I was like, I like volume control. Like I'll do cocaine, alcohol, pot. Like I'll go up and down. I don't want to change the channel in my brain. I don't want to change. I don't touch that remote.
That's a great way to put it. I hear you. So what was that decision like, that you're going to be done with alcohol and let's move to this healthier substitute?
What happened is my business partner and I worked in the wine industry. We're sommeliers for a long time, and
and I say again, how many lives have you lived?
And so we had been sommeliers and worked at all these very fancy events and all this stuff, and so we had a bunch of marketing clients, and we but we kept running into this like butting heads as, she quit drinking before I did, and then we'd go out and entertain clients, and I'd have a few drinks and and then we'd like, she was just like, it's just such like not good energy for us to be as business partners. I was like, fine, we don't drink at events anymore. We don't have to do this anymore. And it was just this exhausting thing that I was like, this is just a common thing that keeps coming up in my life. And if I
and it's an obstacle.
Yeah, and I was like, if I'm so in my marriage, it was like my wife had quit drinking on year one of our marriage, but we partied together in all of our 20s. So it was like I was so like holding on to my right to drink, and I was defending that so hard. And yes, I have the right to drink, but if I gave up that right and I put that down, what else? Now my arms are free. Can I pick up in the world? And it was like my life was consumed with defending myself to drink to all my friends and family and business partners. And I was like, I'm so sick of defending myself. If I can just give up the ego if I get to drink, and this is me and Woody parties and deal with it. If I gave that up, what other gold out there is in the world? So that was like my ultimate decision to stop drinking.
Yes.
And then I quit drinking, but I still did a bunch of cocaine, and it was like, so I still
like my
had
arms
to
are
go
free
in,
to pick up cocaine.
Yeah, I had to go in there and fix I still had wounds inside and weeds around my heart and stuff I had to fix. Versus
Slide towards the table a little bit.
Yeah.
Try and get that chair over the carpet. That's the best way. There we go. Yeah. Just keep it up above that carpet.
So I had to go back into my. I had to go heal the wounds because it was like I might have survived the shit I've been through, but I was still bleeding all over the carpet in everyone's house. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, you might have been through a lot, but it's still your job to go like lick your wounds and clean yourself up before you enter new people's lives. And that's
it's like let me stop drinking, but why was I drinking?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So that was the thing. And so I quit drinking, great, but I was still like exacerbating that wound in other ways. And
that's not going to just go away.
Right.
I know.
And so people overeat or they party a lot or they act out and manipulate people in other ways. And so like for me, it was just I internally tormented myself by disassociating from everybody else. I did a bunch of cocaine and I worked all the time, but I was very unhealthy with my own life balance. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to get healthy. And that was where I started doing the Purium.
And you said that's when it felt kind of like you went too hard into work. You're doing cocaine, which is obviously not a great habit, but then you're just you said a workaholic.
I would stay up like 4 days straight just working.
That is super relatable for me because it's super easy. I think once you get sober, you have all this free time and it feels good to be productive and kind of counterbalance the scale if you've been so lazy and like negative. Now you're working, you're doing stuff that's fulfilling. So I could totally get that.
Because when I was drinking, I would go on binges. So I'd be like, I'm going to go party for 3 days and then I'd be hungover for a couple of days and then I'd just disappear from all my clients and all my loved ones for about 5 days for that period, when hang out with my party people, and then I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm going to come back into my work again. And I think I modeled that after like working in the restaurant industry. Either I'm going to go do a big banquet this weekend or a wedding, or I'm going to do some festival, or I'm going to work the restaurant industry where it's like you ramp up. It's like you get ready for service and then you work, and then 10 p.m., then you start drinking and you go party all night with your server friends, and then you come back the next day and do it all over again.
Cycle.
So it's just this like binge you're running sprints, not marathon. So I needed to find a way to like go back into like a marathon where I'm sustainable. So I was like, okay, I'll take the drinking out, but the cocaine didn't help with that. So then I had to get real with myself, and that's where I started like looking, okay, if I got healthy, not just eliminate something in my life, which is get rid of alcohol, get rid of cocaine, but add something to my life, which was like taking care of my body. And that's real. That's what got me into the Purium thing.
Okay. And how'd you hear about the Purium? They were a client of yours?
Yeah. And so I had talked to, Roxy, one of my clients, and, another one of my clients, Ruby Chase, and then another one of my clients, like I just have a bunch of clients that are all women that work in that I know them from referrals from each other in this industry, but I met them in that plant medicine space originally, like kind of that world. And so when I met them just in that community, I had known about, and I do her accounting. So I'm like, okay, I see when I'm doing bookkeeping, I'm like, okay, so you're affiliated with this company. And then she's like, oh yeah, I've worked with Purium for a long time. And then when I talked about my health and getting, because she's very, very regimented with her health and doing yoga every day and all these things. So I said, okay, just help me with this. And so I didn't ask a lot of questions. She just sent me this kit. So I did the kit, and then I just keep buying the stuff, and and that's basically what I've lived off of for the last year. And I still eat proteins and stuff. Like, I eat protein and salad a day, but it's like I'll eat a steak every day, or chicken or fish or whatever. But I'm just not eating sugar and carbs. Is my main adjustment. I put cold foam in my coffee, but that's it.
Okay, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I can't overstate how cool that is to find something that works so well with this physical journey, but then also find a new thing to dive into that's positive, that's adding to your life. So
yeah. It's been very, very cool. I feel amazing, and it's like people have asked me, and like I just like it's funny because it's a whole thing where you can become a rep and and like Roxy's like, once you get there, you're gonna want to like tell people about it and sell it to them. I'm like, I have so many. I'm busy doing a million other things, and so like I'll just tell people about Purium, but like I don't need to be affiliated with it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can tell the 5 people that are gonna watch this. Dude, I know that you did not even show up here for this to do this, so
hey, I'm happy to be.
We're at like 45 minutes. Do you want to call it a stopping point?
Sure. I gotta jump in with Brandon. I want to get some stuff done with him, and then I gotta get on the road by 5. What time is it?
It is 2.
Okay, cool.
2 exactly.
I got time.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me.
This is awesome. Yeah.
And come back next time to hear him talk about his life in the Navy and as a sommelier.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Anything else?
Thank you. No, this is great. Thanks for having me.
Dude.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Pleasure.
much, Woody.
Yeah, bud.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right, later, you guys.